Right, so it is Sunday the 3rd of August 2025 and I thought I would just do a short video to bring you up to date with my injury and how things are. As you can probably tell from the title of the video and the way I just entered into the screen, I have had another bit of a setback with my return to running. As you can see, the boot is off, but I have swapped the boot for some anti-embolism stockings, which I shall explain the reason for shortly. But the boot is off. So that is a mega positive. I went down to Fracture Clinic for my last appointment there on Wednesday the 23rd of July. So a week ago, last Wednesday, so about a week and a half ago from now. And they re-x-rayed my leg and actually showed me the x-ray this time. The last two times I've been to Fracture Clinic, they haven't actually shown me the x-ray to show me where the break was or what the break was like. But this time, the doctor that I saw actually showed me both my April x-ray and my x-ray from last Wednesday together on the screen side by side and showed me where the fracture was and how the repair was going. I thought that my stress fracture was like a crack across the bone. So I thought it was like as if you snapped something but didn't snap it all the way through and it had a crack across the bone. But it turns out that it was like an impact injury from the top of the bone, and where the impact had been pounding on top of the bone, a splinter more or less had broken off the bone. So I had like a flake of bone. It was a bit thicker than a flake. It was quite thick into the bone, but like it splintered off and the crack was actually running down the bone. I'll put an image of what it looked like on the screen. But the crack in April was actually quite long down the bone. I'd say it looked like it was about maybe, I don't know, an inch and a half long. And yeah, you could see it quite dark as a black line down the bone on the x-ray, which is crazy because normally they say you can't see stress fractures on x-rays and you have to have an MRI. So the fact it was so visible on that x-ray, it was quite bad. But on the x-ray from the Wednesday, the crack was no longer there. It seems to have pulled itself back in and started to heal, and the doctor showed me that along the outside of the bone a nice white build-up on the x-ray had started to form, which means that it was repairing and it was almost healed. So he said it's more or less healed. I can start returning to exercise, but I just need to take it easy. To which I said, it's all right, don't worry, it will be a slow return to running. I'm not going to be running for the next couple of months. And that is the reason why I am wearing these stockings and why I was quite fragile getting down into this sofa. So yesterday, on Saturday 2nd of August, I went in and had a laparoscopic inguinal hernia repair. So on my right hand side, down by my groin, about 2 years ago, so July 2023, I started to feel a bit of a pain down there after training sessions from running or after a long day at work, screen printing. Times when I used my lower abs for something, I noticed a bit of pain down there. I did the usual thing, the silly thing that we do, and I ignored it, and I kept on ignoring it until it got a lot more painful and just got worse and worse. So I finally went to the doctors and got it checked out, and they said it was a hernia, but it had become inguinal. Now, what an inguinal hernia is where there is a weak point in your muscle, and a hole or an opening appears when you tense that muscle, and things from behind it push out through that hole. Now, where my hernia was, that is either your intestines pushing out or some fat from around the area. So it could have been either. But yeah, I've been in some discomfort for the last few months with that. And it had started to cause pain in my groin and down my leg and things like that. So it was time to get it fixed and get it sorted. And I managed to get in for my surgery yesterday. So I am a little bit beat up at the moment. What they do is it's keyhole surgery now. So they make a cut at the bottom of your belly button where they will enter into your body to fix a repair, but they also do 2 cuts either side as well, one for a camera to go down so they can see what they're doing, and the other cut is so they can fill your stomach with gas, and it moves everything out of the way so they can actually have access to that. And what they do is they put some surgical mesh on the back of the muscle, which closes up that hole so that nothing can be pushed through. If left, it can become quite serious, an inguinal hernia, because if it is your intestines that's pushing through your muscle, the muscle can clamp onto that intestines and it can stop the blood supply to your intestines and kill that part of your intestine, and then it requires emergency surgery, and yeah, it can be quite bad. So it was definitely time for me to get it sorted. But it does mean that I've now got 6 to 8 weeks of recovery before I can do any heavy lifting or any strenuous exercise. So it's going to be at least October before I can start running again, which unfortunately means my Valencia dream for this year is no longer on the cards. I don't think getting back to running in October after having over 5 months off running with no running at all, I don't think there's enough time from the start of October to the start of December. 2 months isn't enough to get back to running, let alone going to run a marathon. So unfortunately, Valencia is off the cards for 2025, which means my focus now is 2026. I'm going to use the rest of this year from October to get back into running, just nice, easy, steady runs, just to get back into it. Hopefully go and do some cross country, just be at the back plodding along, just getting back into it. And then in 2026 I can really start getting back into training and pushing myself. I am hoping that my time from London this year will get me a good for age time for London 2026. If I do manage to get in on good for age, all my efforts from October onwards will be towards London Marathon 2026. We shall see if I can get a good for age place. Fingers crossed I've done enough and my time is fast enough for that. But if not, I'll look for another spring marathon and think of what to do. But for now, my focus is on London Marathon 2026. I'm going to get to the shape of my life and see what I can do, and hopefully hit that target of 250 that I wanted so much this year before my stress fracture made that impossible. I still had an amazing result at London this year, and I am so thankful that I managed to get through it. And the idiotic idea I had of running a marathon with a stress fracture in my leg, it was stupid, but it seemed to work out and I got that PB. So let's see what I can do when my body is fully repaired. I'll no longer have pain in my leg, and I'll no longer be dealing with the pain in my lower abs that I've been dealing with for the past couple of years. So yeah, it's been an interesting year, a horrible training block for London, full of pain. A great result at London Marathon, but then stopping running, being in a boot. I was in that boot for 11 weeks, and that was horrendous. Not being able to run has, it's been difficult. I will say that much. I've had a few wobbles where it's not been the best, but I have kept my my toe in the running scene by going down and doing some marshalling at parkrun each week, which has been great. Getting my running fix through the other people that are running and cheering them on. That's been awesome. So I've enjoyed doing that. And then I've still been doing the podcast with Andy each week, Running the Red Line, our podcast that comes out on Saturday each week. I've been keeping my hand in with that, so still chatting, running, and trying to keep positive through that, which has been really good to chat to Andy each week. So yeah, there's been those few moments, a few wobbles, but give it another couple of months. I've made my peace with it now. I know that it's going to take until October before I can do anything strenuous. So I've made my peace with it. I know what's going to happen. I've just got to do it now. So yeah, it's a long road of recovery. I've recovered from the one. I've just got to recover from this now. I feel like at the moment, I feel like I've been through 10 or 12 rounds with Mike Tyson, but he was only allowed to do body shots. I feel perfectly fine on my top half. My arms feel great. My legs feel great. But all around this middle section is, oh man, it's horrendous right now. But we'll get through it. We'll get that recovery done and we'll get back to running as soon as possible. And I cannot wait to be out there pounding the pavements once again. So that is the update for me and my injury woes. If it's not one thing, it's another. But I'm staying positive and I'll be back out there soon. Thank you so much to everyone for the support through the issues with my leg and through the surgery. I've mentioned that I'm going to be having it on the podcast, and people have reached out and been really kind. So thank you so much for all the well wishes. And I will be back soon. I've got a few videos to put out from old races that I'll hopefully get done whilst I am recovering and whilst I'm not running. So look out for those and I shall see you soon. But for now, thank you very much for watching and I'll see you soon. Cheers guys.